Welcome to Career Chronicles. What is Career Chronicles? You might ask. Well, if you don't know, it's just me talking to people while we're in lockdown or eased lockdown or whatever we're in right now at home, and me letting you watch me talk to people that I like and respect. So this week I'm talking to an actor that I've known for a while. They've been in films that I've been in, like Brotherhood and 4321 and Huge. And they've been in films that I produced, like The Knot and Legacy, with my business partner, my company. They've also been in huge films like Terminator, Salvation, and The Titan, and Outlaw King. But one thing they're known for that is bigger than a lot of those things, and is one of the biggest TV shows in the world, and it's something that has gotten them a host of fans, including in only 2 days, 30,000 plus Instagram followers in 2 days. If you don't know who I'm talking about, let me tell you. It's my friend, my buddy, the Scotsman, Stephen Cree. How are you, man?
How you doing, mate? Very well. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. You are looking well, mate. You're looking well. What's been going on?
I was just out in the back garden, getting a bit of sun today, so I could look good for you tonight. Had the paddle and pull out.
Oh, great learning how to swim. I see. I love that.
Learning how to swim at the age of 40, mate. Trying to get the six-pack, like yours.
Mate, the six-pack, you know what lockdown does, though? Lockdown does is, as I know you've been eating a lot of chocolate and ice cream, it's those days where you just pick, and before you know it, 3 or 4 stone.
Mate, 100%. I've put on a stone during this.
There you go.
Of sugar.
Of Cadbury's.
Yeah, I mean, Cadbury's, Galaxy, Ben & Jerry's, Lindt.
Hey, listen, good problems to have. Ben & Jerry's is good, though, man. What's your flavour, by the way?
Peanut butter cup, every time.
All day long.
Every time. Every now and again, I'll deviate from it. And if you've got, when I have a tub of Ben & Jerry's, don't get me wrong, my wife does like it as well, but I will easily eat the 500ml tub 100%. To myself. No problem.
Yeah. And then look at the bottom like, why is that finished so quickly?
I know. And then open a big family-sized bar of Galaxy.
I have to say I'm a Haagen-Dazs man, to be fair. Generally, I'm a Haagen-Dazs man, but peanut butter crunch is my one. And then Dolce
caramel?
Dolce Leche and salted caramel. Which I call Duce de Luce, but it's Dolce Leche or something and salted caramel. Yeah,
Dolce Leche Haagen-Dazs is amazing, actually.
It is, man. So apart from snacking, what's a typical lockdown day? How is lockdown? I know it's eased now and things are changing, and even probably by the time we record this and put this out, things will change again. But what's a typical lockdown day for Stephen Cree? What's going on?
Well, mate, it revolves around our 2-year-old in the routine of her, as you will know, better than me. So when she gets up in the morning, which we've been very lucky during lockdown, she's been getting up really late by her standards and waking up at 8:30 every morning. So we've just been going with that as well, because there's been no real reason to get up early. My wife normally is like, my structure's different anyway. I'm not like, as an actor, your structure's not the same every day anyway, but my wife's a bit more 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So we've just been enjoying, not getting up at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock with her in the morning. And then just like do you know what? I have to say, the very start of lockdown, I was like, how are we going to keep a 2-year-old entertained in the house all the time? And as I was saying to you just before, it's been, we've been really lucky, because she's just been loving being at home with mum and dad and having us both here all the time.
Yeah, they do. When you've got 3, it's a bit of a different story, but
I bet.
So what do you miss? What are you looking forward to most when this is properly over? I don't mean like easing, but I mean when it's properly over and it's done, God willing, or it is where it is at a place where the infection level is so low, like 20 people a day or whatever in the whole country, that everyone feels safe enough to go out. What are you missing? What have you missed? What are you looking forward to?
Man, seeing people like yourself and giving you a big kiss right on the lips.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that was always, I always loved that, by the way. Yeah.
But I mean, like, in the sense of that, actually genuinely missing seeing people and giving them a hug. I'm not, I've read a lot of things and I've seen a lot of things like, is this the end of the handshake? Are people not going to be hugging anymore? Are people going to be scared for that? But I personally can't wait to see my friends, totally. So even just the social aspect, I think as people, we're very social creatures. I can be very antisocial, but by the same token, I can be very social as well. And I'm missing just like going for coffees. That's one about just like going and hanging in a cafe and being able to sit down in it, have a coffee, meet up with friends.
Exactly that. I mean, part of this is just showing, people that want to watch, either fans of the shows that you're on or that I'm on or whatever, that we're all just normal people. And with that, I wanted to ask you, like, what made you, so you're born in Scotland, obviously, grew up. What made you, I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, there are no actors in your family. What made you want to act? What was the thing what did you see? What was the bug? What sparked you into saying, hey, I want to do that?
It was definitely from quite an early age, 7, 8, 9, 10, I quite liked performing. I think, like my mum, when she had friends round at the house, I would do like my little Michael Jackson routines for them, get my hat on and my glove. Don't know how good I was, but and then I started doing like the school shows, and there was when I was about 13, this is when I remember specifically thinking that's what I want to do, because like you as well and stuff, when you don't have any actors in the family, I just had no concept at all of what acting was or how you did it. And we did the school that I was at did Jesus Christ Superstar, and I watched the film of it and just like completely and utterly totally fell in love with it, and actually became obsessed by it. I mean, I must have watched that film, and it was on VHS. I must have watched it like about 100, 200 times
until the tape ran out.
Mate, totally. Yeah. It was like that, and I was very, very lucky that we had a phenomenal music teacher at my school called Fiona McKenzie.
Yeah.
Who was a complete inspiration. One of those teachers who was like that was like a total cornerstone in my life, and
amazing.
Did the school shows, and then was lucky enough to get into drama school.
Yeah. So jumping forward, how did you get into drama school? Was it just standard applying, or and what made you so sure you wanted to go to drama school and not get into the business in the more, in another way?
I actually didn't have a clue when I finished school when I was 17. I still didn't quite know what I was going to do at that point. It was musicals. I was like, that was what I was kind of obsessed by. And one of the teachers at my school suggested a college near Glasgow called Langside College and do a year in theatre arts. And they're like, then you get a bit of everything and you can see what you want to do. And at the end of that year, everyone from my year was auditioning for the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama in Glasgow, which is now known as the Royal Conservatoire.
Yeah.
And I was like such a, I was at drama school, one of the tutors called me a shy actor. I always kind of held everything back, and I always loved having a laugh. I loved taking a piss. I was always a class clown right from primary school. And at Langside College, a couple of the tutors said to me, do you even want to be an actor? Because but at that point, for me, acting was just like learning lines, going on stage and singing. But we were doing Stanislavski and Uta Hagen and Chekhov and like miming, pouring cups of tea and stuff. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. If that's what acting is, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
But then everyone was auditioning for this drama school. And I was like, well, I guess I should audition as well. And they all laughed at me. Actually, no one thought I would get in.
Yeah.
And I got in.
You did. It did. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of things you've done in your career, and obviously we, in this sort of format, we don't have time to touch on all of them, and we'll get to some of them more specifically later. But for you, what would you say were your personal benchmarks or highlights so far in your acting career, things that you've really thought made that difference? We probably talk more about them later, but what would you say were the things that made a difference for you in this journey so far?
like, first thing that made a massive difference was when I was 27, and I got cast as Cliff in Cabaret in the West End in London. So that was 2007 at the Lyric Theatre. Up to that point, I left drama school.
That's quite late as well. 27 to say that the sort of benchmark is quite late, considering, you know, obviously, you know, especially if you were a female actor, that would be very late. But
no, completely.
Because sometimes their careers, you know, are judged by the industry in a shorter time frame.
Yeah, no, totally. I left drama school at 21, came down to London, and basically just worked in bars and restaurants. Got the odd acting job every now and again, but in my life, I came down and it just was a big party, you know, for a few years, and then I had to get my shit together when I was about 26, which I did, and then when I was 27, I was working in a restaurant again, Carluccio's. I've been there for about 8 months, and I had an audition come up for it. I just changed agent. I got like a really good agent for the first time. Yeah. Got me an audition for Cabaret with Rufus Norris, who was directing it, who's now the artistic director of the National Theatre. Yeah. And I got this part of Cliff, and it was like the guy I took over. So I was a second cast, and the guy who had played the part before me had been like a lead on Broadway. He was the lead in Carousel years ago. He'd been Olivier nominated, I think Tony nominated. Yeah. He'd had a big TV career. And at that point, I was working in restaurants. So I was like, there's no chance I'm going to get this part.
Was that a sense of relief for you? Did you feel finally maybe vindicated? Like, is it kind of like all those people that said, mate, you're wasting your time? Did it feel like...
100%. I remember... So nothing... I think nothing that happens in acting will ever surpass this. I remember the day I got the phone call. I got a phone call on a Saturday morning from my agent to say that I got the part, and I was starting rehearsals on the Monday. So I was either going to go back into the restaurant on the Monday or start rehearsals for this show on the Monday. And I phoned up my mum to tell her I got the part, and she just burst into tears, because it was like 6 years of also, I did such a mental lifestyle as well, and worried her so much. And then like that, you're at drama school, or you're at school, and I was the lead in the school shows, and people like, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I left drama school genuinely not having a clue what the acting world was like, and I thought I will leave drama school and just instantly do brilliant. Yeah, I was completely, whether that was a massive ego, arrogance, I just didn't have a clue, and that just didn't happen for me.
Yeah, well, people don't really tell you that. A lot of people, leave drama school thinking they're just going to just make it or get there. There's no making it. I don't ever think there is a making it. Yeah. But people think they're just going to succeed and thrive. And that's not always the case at all, is it? It's not really the case.
It certainly wasn't my case. But, for me, those 6 years of struggling.
We'll get to that in a second. So what would you say was another benchmark?
Yeah. Doing The Little Princess with you and Jason. That had been like, that's 100% one of the things I'm most proud of, by far. It was only 7 or 8 minutes long, but I'd always wanted to write and create something, and it took me a while to get around to doing it.
Again, we'll get to that in a short while. And then, is there another one or another sort of benchmark? Obviously, it has to be...
benchmark, definitely Outlander.
Yeah, it has to be, I guess, yeah. All right, cool.
100%.
All right, so listen, what we're going to do now, we're going to play a little thing called Best. So I'm just basically going to go, Stephen Cree, what was your best ever this? And then you're going to tell me what your best ever of that was.
Okay.
Before we get back into the more serious questions. So, Stephen Cree, what is the best ever hotel you have been to?
Ooh. Probably a hotel I went to in Santorini on my honeymoon.
Ah, okay. What were you doing there? But it was your honeymoon, yeah?
It's a close tie, actually. There was a hotel I went to at the beginning of this year.
No, only one. I'm not interested.
Okay. Right.
Santorini. Why was it so nice?
Yeah, it was just, it was built, the hotel itself was quite sort of like rustic, but it was built into the side of a mountain.
Oh, wow.
The view across the ocean was just like utterly incredible.
Wow.
You know, the people that worked at the hotel were so friendly. It was just a brilliant, you know, you felt so, and it was before we had our kid as well. So it was like totally chilled out, just sitting on your balcony looking out over this amazing vista every day.
Amazing. Okay. Stephen Cree, what is the best ever sushi you've ever had?
In Budapest, a year and a half ago, when I was filming on Terminator with one of the other actors in it, Diego Boneta.
Right.
Who Diego is like, and he wanted, like, Diego's like Tom Cruise or something. Diego's, I don't know if you've heard of him. Diego's huge in Latin America.
Okay, cool.
Like, he's American Mexican, and his energy is like absolutely electric. So he saw the best night out.
Where did you go for sushi?
It was what's it called? Nobu.
Oh yes, yeah. I've been to that one in Budapest. Listen to us, two like council estate kids. Like, I've been to sushi. I've had sushi in Budapest.
That is one of the best. One of the best things about it was as well, I didn't pay for it, so you know, it's even better.
Typical Scotsman. So, so listen. What would you say in the time that you have been working is one of the main lessons that you would have learned? If you were to give a young person advice or talk to a young you, what lesson would you impart?
Resilience, stroke persistence.
Yeah.
I think, you know, when I was in third year at drama school, like, a guy called Lewis Howden came to our school and said, you know, it's not a marathon. No. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And, 100%. You know, and I thought, yeah, that doesn't apply to me, you know, because I'm just going to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And my experience has been, it's just keep going. You'll get, I've had 1,000, probably 1,000 no's in my career.
10,000, yeah.
You know, but
it's important for people to know that we get so many no's. I think that's what I want to talk about next as well. So obviously, after, you know, your early work, you did the Holbees and the Dream Teams and the Misfits and whatnot, and, you know, we've got a few early films, you know, like Huge. We met on Huge, which was a Ben Miller directed movie, where I met you, and then you know, we got on really well. And then I put you in 4321. But during those little steps and during a lot of your early career, there were a few struggles. Like, you know, I don't drink and you don't drink, but I don't drink because I just don't drink. But you had a few issues in your early career. How did you fall into that sort of trap? And more importantly, on a positive note, how did you pull yourself out of it?
I mean, how did I fall into it? Isn't, like, I guess from, you know, you get people, you'd friends when you were at school and stuff, and you'd be like, that guy just shouldn't drink.
Yeah.
I was kind of probably really just always a bit like that. I was a bit kind of like, you know, a wee bit fun Bobby kind of in Friends. I was definitely, I think, sometimes the life and soul of the party, and people thought I was funny and blah, 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 but I would always push it too much. And it was out when I came down to, and it was kind of, you know, it's kind of fun when you're a teenager, you can kind of get away with it. But when I came down to London and, you know, moved down from a small town, Kilmarnock, down to London, and I had all these dreams and aspirations, and just quite quickly they seemed to evaporate. To me. And then so I was just working in bars and restaurants, and so it became very, very easy to drink, you know, all the time, socialise all the time, and then tell myself, well, this isn't working out, so I deserve to go and get drunk tonight because I'm not getting any work. And you know, it just spirals, you know, it just spirals and spirals. And and then when I was about 24, I moved back to Scotland to try and get, you know, to try and get my shit together. And I managed to get a part in a play up in Scotland, actually. And then doing this play, we were filming in Edinburgh, not filming, we were on a stage in Edinburgh at the Edinburgh Festival. And when I was meant to go on stage, I woke up one day in Newcastle because I got so drunk.
Yeah, wow.
So drunk on a train. I woke up in fucking Newcastle, and that was like the first sort of, right, this is
too much.
And it's easy, people say, oh, you're only 24, you're only young. It's like, and you tell yourself as well, or I did, and my drama school was a bit like this, and I think young actors do that back in my day, maybe not so much now. Somewhere in my head, I was like, oh, but I'm like Jimmy Dean, or I'm like Peter O'Toole, or I'm like Richard Burton, and it was like, no, you're not. Like, you're no one. Not like one at that. I certainly didn't have the talent of them, and you only get so many chances.
Yeah.
So anyway, I realised I had to try and do something about it. So when I was 26, I stopped drinking. I sought out some help, and fortunately, got help from people who at the time were strangers to me and who became great friends. And I think that's something, that's something I think that's just like a big theme in my life. Like, when I look back, how lucky I've been at people. You talk about Huge there in 4321. I was speaking to my wife about this all night, and I was like, when Noel said to me, Huge, I've got a part for you in 4321, and then you came through with it. That was the first time ever that somebody had actually said in my career like that, I'm going to give you something. And then
and did it.
And then actually did it. And without people helping, in my experience, without having had people help me, I couldn't have, I couldn't have got sober. And I wouldn't have the career, that I've got as well.
Wow. Well, listen, mate, we all commend you for doing that. And it's a powerful story and a powerful journey. And one, I think, obviously it's up to you, but I think, you sharing that will help other people and does help other people. So I commend you, mate, as a friend and as a peer and all that kind of stuff. I commend you. So well done. So
thank you.
Tell me about a little bit about Huge. And, we get onto stuff that changed your life in a bit, but tell me a little bit about Huge and 4321 being some of your early films. How did you feel about it? And then we went on to work again on Legacy, which is another film that I produced with Jay, and then Brotherhood, of course. But tell me about
and the Knots.
And the Knots. Such an underrated movie. Such an underrated movie. So tell me about Huge, and then into 4321, and how you were sort of feeling around that time.
Well, mate, Huge was another lucky one, actually, because Ben Miller, who directed it, and Ben was like, Ben has been a huge help and inspiration in my career. I was very lucky to meet him round about the time, when things weren't so good. And Ben directed Huge and, offered me a part in that, which was just great. I mean, at that point, I think, what age was I? Like, 29. I was 29, actually. And so, I was still like, I was very, 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 very jobbing. I would still maybe get a couple of jobs a year, and I was managing to scrape a living as an actor at that point, but barely. And but it was very exciting just being on Huge with such cracking actors and such a great cast. And then at a great time with you, you offered me 4321.
Yeah.
And at that point now, even getting a character name, because in Huge I was called Second AD, and I was like, Ben, can you not call him Trevor or something?
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
Yeah.
And so in 4321 I was called Scotty, and I don't know, like maybe I had, five or six lines or something. I'm not entirely sure, but at that point for me, and it's big for actors anyway, but like 5 or 6 lines in a movie like that was just so exciting.
Emma Roberts, and it's a great cast in that movie.
Great cast. And the funny thing happened to me on that, I think you might remember, Emma Roberts' manager, David Sweeney, had that thing that actors kind of fantasize or dream about. And David Sweeney came up to me one day and he was like, have you ever thought of going to LA? And I was like, I mean, yeah, but he's like, do you have representation?
Amazing.
I said, no. He said, I think there's something about you.
Amazing.
And I think you could do well over there. Give me a call. And so I went over.
Amazing.
And
But that's amazing, isn't it? You know, we meet on a job, called you come on to 4321, then you meet Emma Roberts' manager, and you know, you go to LA, and even if you didn't end up with him, you ended up with someone, and it goes on from there. Do you know what I mean? It's just amazing. And that was a great scene as well. Like, it was a few lines, but it's a great scene. And I remember specifically, I can't remember what line was originally, but you came up to me and you said, no, I just wondered if I could change this word to bobag. What is it?
Oh, yeah. All right, bobag.
Bobag. Yeah, or something like that. And I said, what does that mean? And you said, well, it's a Scottish way of saying whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, say it. Don't worry about it. Just say it. And it's just such a nice scene, actually, that scene. You know?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And getting to meet. I remember speaking to Ben, was the stunt guy that day, who'd been Daniel Craig's stuntman on Casino Royale, and had pulled off that incredible stunt where they jumped down from the cranes. So it's things that's one of the things I love about set, meeting people like him. Just like, you meet so many great people.
Yeah. So then you go on from stuff like that, and you start getting into slightly bigger roles, and we get into, you know, we have a nice bit in the knot, but then Tower Block comes along, which was another decent film.
Yeah, I think that was actually, I should have done better than it did, but, you know. It's
just one of those things, isn't it? You can never tell. And Tower Block could have been a very different film, because, you know, originally I was offered the lead in that movie.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to be the lead, and then I don't know how the cast would have played out, and I couldn't do it because I was doing Stories 24, and the director said, don't worry, I'll get someone else. And I was like, bro, as long as they're not the same person, like looking exactly like me. And he's like, nah, we'll go in a completely different direction, and got this little known actor called Jack O'Connell. He becomes like the biggest star in the world. Do you know what I mean? It was great. But you're in Tower Block, and you're the villain, right?
Yeah. I start off as like the good cop.
Yeah.
At the beginning, interviewing people, finding out, you know, at this Tower Block, somebody's been murdered. Can't quite remember. Somebody's been murdered, and I'm investigating it. And then they come under attack for the whole movie by this sniper, not knowing where he is, and it turns out to be me.
Yeah.
And that was which at that point, for getting a part like that in a film was a big deal. You know.
Yeah, 100%. So your career is taken, because there's a definite jump, and we'll get to that when we get to, you know, Outlander later. But the career definitely, you know, was taking those baby steps. When you talk about it, you know, your advice earlier, or what you said earlier about it being a marathon, it definitely is a marathon. And it feels like for you, it's definitely being like, and for me as well, we haven't just like run up the stairs. We've like climbed every step. Like, the elevator's not working, the lift isn't working, and we've climbed every step. We've done our whole beats, we've done our casualties, our bills, and we've climbed every step along the way. Do you feel like, as you're older now, that is actually a better journey? Well, I mean, it's different for everyone, but for you personally, do you feel like, you know, you said when you came out of drama school, you thought you were just going to go off here, and do you feel like for you and your personality that is a better journey for you?
100%. Like, I look back now and think, if I'd had like big success in my early 20s, when I look at the way I was living my life at that point, because I used to blame it on that. I used to be like, it's because I can't get acting work, that's why I'm drinking so much. But then I would get an acting job sometimes and drink even more, you know. And I think if I'd actually made a lot of money, or had people telling me you're great, or you're this, or you're that, mate, completely, I just couldn't have handled it. And the journey, I wouldn't swap my journey now, you know, for anything else. It's kind of made me who I am, and it's just, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? It's, you know, I was very, very twisted in my 20s by, you know, and a bit in my early 30s as well, you know, comparing myself to others all the time. How come he's got this? How come he's got that? Why is none of this happening for me? Why can't I get that? You know, and it's just such an unhealthy and toxic,
very toxic,
you know,
no way to be.
Really toxic, you know. But I was just so kind of unhappy.
And has it been your friends and your wife that sort of pulled you out of that, or is it just something you've grown out of?
No, I think I've been, you know, I think 100%. People like my wife, people like my friends tell me, you know, my wife's really resilient and very stoic. I'm very emotional, and I love to talk about stuff. But you know, it's like sometimes it's great to talk about your feelings, and especially now as a guy, you know, it's very important, I think, to get that message out there, but also sometimes it's good to just be like, you know, like acceptance, I think, and just be like, you didn't get that job. That's it.
Yeah, move on.
Doesn't matter how much you think about it, work it out. Why did you get it? You didn't get it? Move on.
Yeah, we've talked about that. And I've said, like, man, if you're meant to get something, you'll just get something. So, listen, we're going to just play a quick thing called The Realness. Well, I say play, it's more of a thing where I just say, Stephen Cree, tell me the realness, and just tell me something that is important to you that maybe people don't know about. It might be that you like dolphins. It might be that, you know, it might be that you care about the environment. I don't care, but something that people might not know about, something you might want to get out there, but that's real to you. Stephen Cree, tell me the realness.
God, there's no way to say this word, I think, without sounding a wee bit pretentious or wanky or something, but probably right. I'm quite spirituality plays a big part in my life, and it was something I think that helped me when I stopped drinking. It's not like I'm not religious, you know, I've never been I'm not a church goer or anything like that, but I definitely believe in, you know, something, but, you know, the universe, you know, whatever, just like there's, you know, some sort of power. Yeah. And, you know, I think there was a book I read when I was, you know, late 20s called The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, which blew my mind. I couldn't even begin to explain it, actually, but it was a real, you know, the Buddhist way, I guess, of looking at life and death is quite different to how we look at it. And it gave me, I think, like a greater appreciation for life.
Amazing.
So
that's amazing. What's the book again?
The Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, Singpal Rinpoche, I think.
Okay.
The guy that wrote it. There was one great thing in it I always remember, and I don't do this anymore, because at that point I was so I can easily veer into negativity or easily veer into the glass half empty. Not so much now, but certainly when I was younger. And he spoke about get an empty glass each night and put it upside down next to your bedside table. And when you wake up in the morning, you see it, turn it back up, and just be grateful for another day.
Yeah.
You know, alive.
Yeah.
And even something as simple as that just would set my day off.
Yeah, that's nice, because it's not really about whether it's half full or half empty. It's like, you got a glass. There's a glass there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, that's nice, man. That's nice. All right. That's great stuff, man. I like that. That was real, very real. So going further into your career, you get into stuff like Legacy, which is another film we did, and Brotherhood, which was for me, amazing to have you, because by then we were quite firm friends, and, you know, I knew that it was going to be, for me, probably the last one of those things. And I just wanted to get people that I felt I liked, that I wanted to be part of that whole trilogy. How was that experience for you being in that movie? You don't have to like it in here, you know, we can...
No, mate, it was brilliant, because again, the thing with Brotherhood, you cast me as like a kind of tough, you know, not to be messed with Londoner.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, whether or not I could have, you know, gone into auditions and got that or not, it's just, you know, even if there's hundreds of London actors, you know, for example. So it's like, you need, you know, somebody taking a chance on you like that. So getting to play a part, there was a bit different from me as well.
Yeah.
You know, was great. And it was so, and again, I got to Ashley Thomas, who played who did they play in it again?
Calvin. Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I now keep in touch with Ashley because of that as well. And you get, you know, and Ashley's got this life as a rapper as well. And there were so many, like that film in particular, there were so many people in that that I would never meet in my sphere of life or the jobs that I normally do. Like, it was so cool to be a part of that. I kind of felt like I was learning loads all the time from everything.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room before we get onto the other thing. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. So you're beavering away, you're doing all your stuff. You get to, you got cool things like Churchill, which happened and all that stuff, and a bunch of other things. And later on, there was the Titan, and of course, Outlaw King, huge films with big stars, But for me, what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the thing that really led to all of those, and the thing that really changed, I guess, your life and put you in a place where you were able to get those things, the Terminators and all this stuff, is a little show called Outlander. So tell me about Outlander. Tell me about how we get this audition. I say we because I'm just like, I'm with you. I'm part of this. I've known you since long before that. How do we get this audition? Do we think we're going to get the job? We go in. Are we like, what's happening? And then how do you end up in Outlander and doing... just tell me that process and how amazing it's been for you, or if it hasn't.
Yeah. Well, it has been amazing, but so usual scenario, you get a call from your agent or an email, got an audition to play Ian Murray in Outlander, and I'd heard of it because 6 months previously or something, I'd auditioned for the part of Dougal, which Graham McTavish, who's about 20 years older than me and about 5 inches taller than me, ended up playing, and which was great. Like, I was not right casting for it at all, but so I was aware of it. This character comes in, Ian Murray. I read the synopsis, and I thought actually straight away, I was like, I reckon I could do this. I could see myself. I'm not like physically and stuff. I'm not the way he's described, but I thought I've got the essence of that. So went in, did the audition with Suzanne Smith. Character's got a wooden leg, so I was like, do I limp a bit? Do I do some limping acting?
Yeah. Did you limp?
She was like, no, just leave that. And she gave me some good direction. Did the tape. Didn't hear anything. Because normally for stuff like that, you have to go back in, or then sometimes do a test or something. I didn't hear anything, and then about 3 weeks later, I think I got an email saying it's looking good. Like, just waiting on Sony or somebody to approve you, and then I got the job.
Wow.
But the funny thing was, mate, I remember when I got that job, I went out for dinner that night with my wife, and I was like, because at that point, and Sam Hewen, you've worked with Sam. Sam's spoken about this before as well. Me and Sam was 2 years with me at drama school. He thought I was a dick, and I just thought he was boring. I was just like, he's just a really, 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 really good-looking, nice, boring guy. So, and I was playing his best friend in the show, so I was like, I don't know if this is going to be that good. Yeah. I don't know if Sam going to be that good in it. Is this, I don't really. And then I just actually didn't really know anything about it at that point. And then I started getting. I remember going to get the prosthetics thing done for my leg, and I was like, wow, this is the biggest thing I've ever been involved in.
Yeah, wow.
By a mile.
Yeah.
And then a TV show. Biggest TV show by a mile. And then it just went on from there. And then I was up on set and stuff. And I remember the first day on set, and I was like, fuck, this is massive.
Unbelievable.
And I obviously knew it was based on books. Like, I read the first book, but because I wasn't on social media or anything at that point.
Yeah.
So I didn't know about the fan base. And
can I just stop you there? Who joins Instagram and gets 30,000 people in one day? Like, what the hell is happening? Where are we now?
It's actually slowed down. It's slowed down a little bit.
Of course it's going to slow down because there's the initial rush. Let's have a look where we are now. Steve, my brother. Look, and verify. 43,000 plus, right? And it'll probably be more by the time this comes on. You've only been on there like 4 weeks. So I'm sorry to pause your Outlander story, but isn't this a testament to how much the fans love that show and how much they support you, my man?
Mate, 100%. 100%. Because like my agent in the social media team at Troika had been saying to me for a while, she got on Instagram and I was like, I don't know, I'm already on Twitter. But anyway, I was like, okay. So got on, and like Greg texted me the next day, and he was like, fucking hell, you've got 25,000 followers in like 12 hours or something.
I'm unreal. Yeah. So continue the Outlander story before we get in. So you started and then it was all wonderful.
Just getting the blinds up here so you can see my eyes a wee bit better.
Yeah.
So I got on set and I was like, God, this show's this show is like the production values, the set they'd built, the costumes. I was just like, this is massive. This is so much bigger than I realised. And then I got on brilliant with Sam straight away. You know, we got on fantastic, and which makes it so much easier, especially when you're playing best friends. And then I remember when I was filming I came into it in something like episode 12, I think, of season 1, and we're filming it, and episode 1 was about to air. And I was speaking to Katrina Balfe and Sam, and Katrina was a bit nervous, understandably. You know, what's this going to be like? What's the reception going to be like? And I remember saying, like, I am absolutely certain, if you look at shows like Downton Abbey or period historical British dramas that have been big, Outlander, and it's got a big fan base already with the books, it's going to be a big, big, big success. I didn't realise it was going to be like the success it's become, because also it's become a massive critical success as well. I don't think
massive.
And that was a huge turning point, because at that point for Stars was still associated with what was the show about Spartans or something?
Was it called Spartans?
Was it called Spartans? I feel like it might have been.
I think it was called Spartans, yeah.
Something like that, and a lot
the sex and all that stuff. That one.
Yeah, and that's what, like, you know, Amazon was very much associated with like a lot of nudity and not Amazon, sorry, Stars, and I feel like Outlander was like a big turning point for them as well, because it's, you know, it got Golden Globe nominated. Katrina's been Golden Globe nominated several times, Tobias, and it's just become like, I mean, it's a complete and utter phenomenon. Yeah, there's not many TV shows that go like that.
No, not at all. It's amazing, and I think, you know, as you know, that presence is and a good agent obviously is what's led on to a lot of the movies you've done. You know, you've got the Titan, Outlaw King, and all this kind of business. But also, it's the Outlander fans that when you tweeted about a short film that you'd written. That you emailed me, and I handed to my forwarded to my business partner, and then he went on to become the director of it. It was the Outlander fans that financed that thing in like a day.
Oh, mate, that was, I remember, and once again as well with that was like, I'd been batting about, thinking about getting that made. How do I do it?
And I told you to be writing. I told you so many times, get writing.
Mate, 100,000 times. And then I emailed it to you, and you were like, okay, let's do it. Bang, straight away. And I, you know, I'd been messing about for about 2 years talking about it or something, and that was it. Just immediately set the wheels in motion.
And then Jason was like, I want to direct it. And it was like, boom, gone, done.
Yeah. You know, which I'm very, very grateful for. Yeah. And so we set up a Kickstarter for it, put it on Twitter. And I remember I had an audition in Scotland that day, and in the time, 4 or 5 hours or something I got from London to Scotland, we'd raised something like 8,000 quid, £9,000.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I think we ended up, in 18 hours, we raised like £13,000 or something like that. I mean, absolutely and utterly. And it's so like, it's not it's sometimes a bit of an overused word, but I was so humbled by that, and kind of so blown away, because I didn't really, you know, I didn't know that would happen.
Well, I think the fact that you were humbled shows, you know, when you talk about some of the stuff you talked about earlier, the fact that you were humbled shows what a journey you've been on in your career and personally, you know, yourself. I think that you wrote a beautiful little film. It was directed wonderfully, and I definitely think that, you know, you were probably, you know, when I watch it, it's saying things about you without being too overt. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it real. You know, I think that's what people resonate with it.
100%, and that was it. And it was scary to do that as well, because I hadn't, you know, I've not been at the edge of a train track about to step in front of a train. But I've certainly had, you know, I've had very, very low points in my life. I've experienced feeling depressed, you know, and so I could relate to being at that point where you almost feel like jumping off, and then something happens, somebody offers you a part in 4, 3, 2, 1, or, you know, like something comes out of the blue that just makes you think, oh no, hold on a minute, there's still hope. And so actually, to like, you must think that with the stuff that you write, you know, because what the kidulthood must have been so revealing in a way. And it's I really shied away from that. I almost didn't want to do it, and I almost didn't want to play the part as well. Yeah. And then I was like, you know,
you had to. I think, I mean, kind of with kidulthood and those things, definitely, you know, people don't realize this because, you know, a lot of people talk about the films in what they are, but I write from truth, which is why I didn't do another one for 10 years, because I'm not just going to write nonsense. Like, but when I had kids and I thought about, what would that character be doing? It made me write another film, you know. And listen, man, your journey's been amazing. So one last question before we play, two last questions before we play the last little game. Is there a question you wish people would ask you generally? You know, we do all these interviews, you know, you've done press junkets. So what is something you wish people would ask you?
God. I actually can't think. Why is your hair so good?
Yeah, it is good. It is good.
Yeah. How at the age of 40 have you maintained?
I know, right? Look, mine is. I've got my hat on.
Mate, it's looking good.
Let's get a bit of you know.
It's looking very strong. It's looking very strong. I guess it's like, you know, things like this is interesting because you're asking different questions, and you're asking questions that people, you know, in a way that people don't normally ask. So I guess asking questions that are a bit off, you know, off the beaten track. Interesting. I did this thing for the Sunday Express last year, where it was a fashion section. They actually asked the questions through the thing that you wear. So it was like a favourite jacket, and it's like, what's the story behind that?
Yeah,
so you're able to go into something a bit more personal, because you want to get I don't mind giving away a bit. You don't want to give away everything, do you? Because you want to keep some mystery.
Yeah, 100%. What's important to you outside of this crazy business?
I mean, goes without saying, family first and foremost, 100%. That's, you know, family and friends, most important thing. But I think that doesn't go without saying, you know, I mean that sincerely. But I've been thinking during the lockdown and at the start of it, you know, how important community is, and how lucky I've been to where I've got to, you know, in my life, in my career, and how I wouldn't have done that without the help that I've received. And so then to be in a position like that, you know, to try and give back in some way. So I've been really lucky. Outlander has been incredible for the fan base getting behind, charitable, causes. You know, causes. So like, I've been able to raise awareness for an animal charity, the Chris Boyd mental health charity, and then at the start of this, I've been doing some personal greeting videos with this site called Cameo and giving all the money to a charity called Cash for Kids, which again has, and mate, I say I've done about, I don't know, 110 of these videos in 2.5 weeks, every single one an Outlander fan, and they've raised about 3,600 quid.
Amazing.
For Cash for Kids.
I do Cameo as well.
Right.
So yeah, I get it, 100%.
And it's like, I didn't really know what I was doing with that, and it's like they're just so enthusiastic. So I think being able to, you know, being in a position to be able to try and help other people, you know, however that may be.
Amazing, Stephen, my man. I could speak to you forever, and as we do off camera, we're mates, so we're gonna speak at some point anyway. But I just want to say, we're gonna just play quickly. Give me the word. And then we're going to check out. So this is Give Me the Word, where I mention a word to you and you give me a one-word answer back.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Blankets.
Pigs.
Good one. Aeroplanes.
Toilets.
Mm-hmm. Equality.
Elephant.
Elephant from equality. How do we get that?
The E. Just on the E.
Fair enough. Yeah,
I went straight to elephant.
That is the game. It's whatever the word is that comes back. Water.
Fire.
Lockdown.
Penis.
What in the fuck? How do you, what?
I'm not entirely sure what the correlation was there, but that's the first thing that came into my head.
100%. I do feel like my penis has been locked down a little bit in lockdown, but you know, that's a whole different conversation. Okay. Keeping going on. Angels.
Devil.
Donuts.
Milkshakes.
Indeed. Oxygen.
Ventilator.
Yeah, very much needed at the moment by a lot of people. Red.
Blue.
Interesting. Oranges. The fruit, not the color.
Pears. I don't even like pears. Don't know why I said that.
I'm partial to a pear. I don't mind a pear.
Yeah.
Huge.
4, 3, 2, 1.
All connects. Los Angeles.
Girls.
The Body Shop. Let's not lie. Are you going to get in trouble? You're not going to get in trouble from your wife. Does she know?
That's all right. That's okay.
Hey,
that's okay.
The Body Shop, man, that is my spot. That's our spot when we hit LA. Are we still allowed to go to these places in 2020? I don't know what the deal is anymore.
Yeah, it's going to probably not. It's going to be a while, isn't it?
Well, I like it. Last one. Outlanders.
Fans.
Fantastic. My brother, you are a wonderful man. I love you loads.
Likewise.
Stephen Cree, your career has been... So that was Stephen Cree, as you can see, an actor who has been through a lot, done a lot, has learned a lot. Someone that's overcome adversity and overcome the trappings of the industry that make you sometimes think that you're just going to succeed immediately and not have to work hard. And as he said, that didn't happen for him. He thought it was going to, and it didn't. And he had to work very hard and for a long time to get where he has. And he's still working and still grafting, turned his hand to writing. Someone that's constantly learning. And overall, as I do when I do these things, talk to people I like, he's someone that is actually just a really nice guy. So I'm going to leave it there. Stephen Cree, my man, thank you for doing this. Your career has been chronicled. And for all you people that listened, if you stayed to the end, as I always say, try and be kind. It's not that difficult to do. Be real, speak your mind. Don't just let people trample all over you. Say what you have to say and cut those toxic people out of your life with no mercy. Be kind, be real, be ruthless. I'm out.